Have you ever wanted to see a glacier up close? Like, really close? How about raging waterfalls whose thundering waters are carving into the landscape fed by those massive glaciers? Or maybe you're happiest on a hiking trail next to stunning mountain lakes, complete with an encounter with a mama bear and her cubs. Whatever your cup of tea is, Jasper National Park is there to fill that cup. Get ready, because we're taking you to 5 incredible spots for photography, natural history, and just good old time in the mountains. So let's go.
Getting ready to go on an expedition to see this glacier that is far, far, far away. And it's gonna be very cold, so I'm getting ready. It's gonna be hours and hours and hours of hiking. And if you look out the window, you'll see the way to the glacier.
Dun da da da! It's right there! And it's amazing!
All right. Maybe I exaggerated just a little, but it is gonna be very cold. So ready? Let's go!
The Athabasca Glacier is the first thing you see when you enter Jasper National Park from the south. How about that for an entrance? This is the most visited glacier in North America, probably because it is so accessible. The drive up to the glacier is both exciting, I mean, there's a glacier up there, but also somber, because you see those blue plaques? They note how far the glacier used to reach in past years. And as you can see, Athabasca has receded a lot. Nearly a mile in the last 125 years, to be exact.
The toe of the glacier is just above that. Can you believe that just about, 50 years ago, the glacier was here. So it's receding very rapidly in recent years. So we might not see this glacier for much longer. So let's go check it out while it's still there.
This is cool. So it's saying that, because snow falls and forms a glacier over many years and then it slowly moves downwards, that some of the ice at the toe of this glacier fell as snow 400 years ago.
The glacier used to reach all the way here. This is the highway.
The Athabasca Glacier is fed from the Columbia Icefield, the largest icefield in North America's Rocky Mountains. The Columbia Icefield is profoundly important, and we'll come back to that in a bit.
Oh, look at this. Wow.
These scratches
Uh-huh.
caused by the glacier.
These scratches?
These scratches.
All right, fellow natural history lovers, you know what's coming next. Have you ever wondered how Earth scientists know where glaciers used to be, long after they have melted away? Well, glaciers leave clues on the landscape, and here at Athabasca, you can see absolutely textbook examples of them. The first are these, called glacial striations. These scratches were made by rocks trapped in the glacier as it slowly moved downhill. Striations left by long-gone glaciers tell geologists a couple important things. First, they say, hey, there was a glacier here. And second, they say which way the glacier was flowing. Next are glacial moraines. These long piles of rock look like they were made by a bulldozer. And they were. This one. Glaciers plow through and transport a lot of rock as they move. Whenever the glacier experiences melt, usually on the sides or at the front, rocks fall out of the glacier and form into piles. These long piles that form on the side of the glacier are called lateral moraines. The pile that forms at the front, or the toe, of the glacier is called the terminal moraine. Remember that hill that we hiked up to get here? That was the old terminal moraine of the Athabasca Glacier from the 1980s.
What's really cool is in certain areas of Wisconsin, you can see moraines left by the last ice age. And if you know what you're looking for, you can actually see these long, thin hills, and you think, how is that formed? It was a moraine.
Finally, here at Athabasca Glacier, you see that classic U-shaped glacial valley being formed right before your eyes. Rivers carve V-shaped valleys. glaciers carve U-shaped valleys. Imagine a thread of floss cutting through clay versus a shovel cutting through clay. This is a really big shovel. During our time here in Jasper National Park, keep your eye out for those U-shaped valleys. Every time you see one, you'll know what made it.
And this is as close as we can get to it. As you can see, that's the water melting from the glacier. And this is where the glacier was back in 2006. I wonder how long is this glacier gonna be here at the rate that it is receding.
This right here is the start of the Sunwapta River, which in no time will become part of the Athabasca River, the second largest river in Alberta. These waters are about to start an epic 750-mile journey, eventually emptying into the Arctic Ocean. 10,000 years ago, this glacier stretched all the way to the plains of Alberta. In the last 125 years, it has lost 50% of its volume and recedes at a rate of 16 feet per year. You can see the Columbia Icefield peeking out just over the ridge, so this glacier really does not have long before it, like so many others, fades into the past. Now, right in front of the Athabasca Glacier is the Jasper National Park Visitor Center, and it is here that you get to zoom out and really see the bigger picture of what is going on here. So this is the Columbia Icefield, and you can see it's feeding 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 glaciers. The one we were at yesterday is the Athabasca. We were standing right here, looking up at it. The Columbia Icefield is 125 square miles and reaches to depths of nearly 1,200 feet. It was formed between 230 and 120,000 years ago, long before Homo sapiens walked the earth. The icefield pours over the mountains like icing oozing down the side of a cake. And of course, we call those slowly oozing rivers of ice glaciers. Think of the Columbia Icefield like a massive freshwater storage tank for North America. It feeds 3 major watersheds stretching across the USA and Canada, affecting the water supply of millions of people and countless ecosystems. The water from this icefield eventually ends up in 3 different oceans: the Pacific, the Atlantic, and the Arctic. The state of the icefield is anything but static. Even in our short time here, we see a huge chunk of the edge break away and fall down the mountainside. The Visitor Center Gallery is full of a lot of interesting information, like the fact that 32 feet of snow falls on the icefield every year, which eventually compresses down to just 6.5 feet of ice. It warns of what the future brings for the Columbia Icefield, and it shows the drastic changes that have already taken place. We hit the road to officially enter into Jasper National Park. You could do nothing but drive through this national park and still have the experience of a lifetime. The views are just insanely beautiful. Jasper is the largest national park in the Canadian Rockies, stretching across 4,200 square miles. Like Banff National Park, it is recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and it's not hard to see why. The Canadian Rocky Mountains surround us on all sides. The Sunwapta River snakes along to our left. At this stage, it is a braided glacial river weaving its way across the valley. Not too far downstream, it will join with the Athabasca River, who, by the way, is about to give us one heck of a show. This is Athabasca Falls. This is the moment we really start to see the true power of these young glacial rivers. But why is there a waterfall here? Up to this point, the river has been weaving its way along the valley floor. Why the sudden change? It's all because of this hard ledge. Over 10,000 years ago, the Athabasca Glacier reached all the way here and poured slowly over this ledge of hard quartzite rock. As the glacier receded, a stream began to cut into the rock, and the river continues this work today, slowly carving away a few millimeters of quartzite each year. Now, quartzite is a really hard rock, so it's taking a long time for that ledge to give way to the power of the river. But you see all this rock here below the falls? See how the river seems to just so easily carve smooth and deep channels here? That's because this rock is limestone, which is a much softer rock. Wouldn't it be so cool to go down there and see what it looks like inside those smoothly carved limestone canyons? Well, Athabasca has a really nice treat for us. The exact location of the waterfall shifts over time, so here we can actually walk through an old path of the river. Once upon a time, the waters of the Athabasca roared through this channel, carving away at the limestone in exactly the same way it is currently doing a couple hundred feet to our right. This little walk offers a fascinating glimpse into both the past and the present. You might not have known this, but Jose has an ongoing photography series of waterfalls from around the world. So of course, Athabasca Falls made the cut, and we're spending some good time here so Jose can get that perfect shot. To get to our next stop, we park our bus and pile into our little runner car. Because we're hitting a road that, while our big 35-foot home on wheels could do it, there are some hairpin turns that we'd rather not have to share with anyone else on the road. Much better to zip up here in the Prius, stress-free. And believe me, you want to be stress-free on this drive. We're driving up Edith Cavell Road, a narrow, barely 2-lane stretch of road heading straight up and into the core of the Rockies. Like I've said before, the drives in this park are an experience in and of themselves. Jasper National Park is just off the charts. It's another beautiful day in paradise. We are here at Edith Cavell Mountain.
We are on the path of the glacier hiking trail. It's a very short trail and easy. As you can see, it's paved, and I believe it's paved most of the way.
This 45-minute walking trail leads further into the Rockies, right up to the base of Mount Edith Cavell, named after a British nurse who saved hundreds of lives in World War I. Besides just being a beautiful hike to begin with, surrounded on all sides by striking mountains that tower over you, stretching high into the sky, there is a really special treat at the end of this hike.
Hey there. You found your spot. You getting photos or video?
Right now I'm doing some photos, and then I'm gonna do a time lapse.
Awesome.
It's beautiful.
Cavell Pond sits at the base of Mount Edith Cavell. Above the pond sits Angel Glacier, named because it once resembled an angel perched on the edge of the mountain. Directly across the pond sits Cavell Glacier, which produces icebergs throughout the summer. Out of all the glacial lakes we've been to so far, this is a new experience.
You know, coming to places like this is almost just there aren't words. If you're an artist, you're inspired. If you are an amateur geologist, you are way inspired. I mean, it's just like if you're a nature lover, you're inspired. It's like no matter what your take or your angle is, you come to a spot like this and you're just kind of speechless and humbled and grateful.
Whoa. Holy cow. A huge chunk of ice just fell.
It's probably a good thing that we don't know this, but in 2012, a huge piece of the Ghost Glacier came crashing down from the mountain and caused a wave so great that huge portions of the trail we just walked on were destroyed. Parts of the parking lot were destroyed. Even sections of the road coming up here were covered in feet-deep piles of rock and debris. By some insane stroke of luck, it happened at night when no one was here, or else many people would definitely have died. But we don't know that.
We just saw a section of ice fall down from the glacier. Made a huge booming sound, and we just happened to capture it on video. Jose was getting some B-roll. Just heard another crack.
I'm setting up an audio recorder just in case there is another ice fall. I want to capture that deep and echoing boom sound that the ice makes when it falls. It's intimidating and humbling, reminding you of the immense power of ice. The glaciers originating here at Mount Cavell used to stretch all the way to the plains of Alberta. In fact, 280 miles away from here, there's a huge chunk of rock called Big Rock that sits alone, completely out of place, in the middle of the Alberta plains. All the evidence says that this huge chunk of quartzite originated right here at Mount Cavell. It was carried by the glaciers all the way to the plains, where it was left behind when the glaciers melted away. We stay here long enough to commune with the area, the pond, the glaciers, the mountain, and each in our own way. Fortunately, there is no more icefall during our time here. And now we bid farewell to this beautiful, spectacular little corner of the world, grateful we were able to spend a day in the presence of such intense natural beauty.
Happy photographer?
Oh, yeah, I got some nice photos. This is really beautiful. Now we have 2 more places to visit before we leave this beautiful national park.
So onward to those 2 final stops. We're actually going to backtrack along Highway 93 to our next stop. We wanted to stop here the other day, but we didn't have enough time. So now the young Athabasca River is on our right. If you're wondering if the water really is that color, yes it is. The water gets that color because it is full of very fine particles of rock. So fine, in fact, it is called rock flour. Glaciers create rock flour as they scour the landscape, acting just like a giant flour mill. Those fine particles remain suspended in the water, absorbing the shortest wavelengths of light. The water itself absorbs the longest wavelengths, leaving only the middle wavelengths, blues and greens, to be reflected back and perceived by our eyes.
Well, now we are here at Sunwapta Falls.
Look at that hole right there.
Yep.
Sunwapta Falls. The water we see crashing over these falls is the same water we saw melting from the toe of the Athabasca Glacier. About 2 miles downstream from here, Sunwapta will join with the Athabasca River. There are actually 2 sets of falls here, the Upper Falls and the Lower Falls. These are the Upper Falls, which, being a short walk from the parking lot, are much busier than the Lower Falls, which requires a short hike. One of the unique things about Sunwapta Falls versus all the others in Jasper is this island. Right before tumbling over the falls, the river splits in 2, weaving around a small treed island just before rejoining and taking the plunge. This, of course, makes this waterfall a particularly popular spot for photographers. I wonder if we know one of those. This dude is on task, figuring out the best angle to get another photograph for his waterfall collection. Lucky for him, the Park Service did a great job building a whole series of platforms to view this falls from multiple angles.
The Upper Falls look pretty cool. Now we are going on this little trail, heading to the Lower Falls to see how they look.
Walking through this forest of lodgepole pine really gives you a sense of how this tree got its name. This species seems almost handcrafted by nature to be an ideal building material, especially for log cabins. The Lower Falls are no less impressive than the Upper Falls. We spent some time here taking in this rugged display of nature's power. Jose is staying behind at the falls, waiting for that perfect light right at the perfect moment to get that striking photograph. And in the meantime, I'm setting up the office to work on all the logistics that surround the Art With Area project. There are a lot of them. We reconvene just before sundown, and I get to witness that awesome moment when all the pieces finally come together and he gets the photo he was looking for. We're on the road once more, and the Art With Area bus, also known as our Bobby, is rocking this drive. The bright sunshine is bathing our solar panels and charging up our battery bank. We won't have any power issues editing videos tonight. And we have one final stop before bidding farewell to Jasper. Little do we know, this stop has a couple super awesome surprises in store.
Yeah, now we're gonna put the GoPro on the roof of the car. We're gonna stop at Medicine Lake and then Maligne Lake.
Maligne Lake Road is a 26-mile scenic drive that breaks off from the main road through Jasper National Park. Is it worth it to break away from the main road and do this drive? Most definitely. Of course, the mountains and forests surrounding the road are spectacular. And also, halfway through the drive, you will find yourself driving along Medicine Lake, also called the Disappearing Lake. This lake is a geologic anomaly in that its outlet is not a stream or river like most lakes, but rather an underground drainage system that still eludes scientists as to its full extent. In the fall, the lake drains completely like a bathtub with a stopper pulled out. In the spring, it fills up once more with fresh snowmelt from the surrounding mountains and the rushing spring flow of the Maligne River. Now, wouldn't you know, as we are driving up to Maligne Lake, we find ourselves behind another schoolie. Everyone meet Zia the bus. We know how nice it is to have footage of your bus in cool places, so we film for a bit and send it to them later. Schoolies got each other's back.
We have arrived at Maligne Lake. It's beautiful here, of course. Everywhere you turn in this area of the world is just stupidly beautiful.
There's a picnic table over there, but we're not set up shop over here right next to the water. Look at this view.
We're laden with all our picnic food, but we can't help ourselves from following the sign that says, "Short hike this way." Maligne Lake is 14 miles long and reaches to depths of 318 feet. Cradled among jagged peaks, it is a popular spot for sport fishing, kayaking, and canoeing. We would love to spend more time here, but unfortunately, we really are on a time crunch to hit the Alaska Highway, so we have to be satisfied with today's picnic and mini hike.
We're just about to leave Jasper National Park, and we haven't seen a moose, we haven't seen a bear.
Now, Jose must have some kind of magical powers, because not too long after he says those very words, we're back in the car, and we see our first bear, not just of our time in the Canadian Rockies, but of our whole time in Canada. Now, it's really important that if you see a bear, especially a mama bear and her cubs, you stay in your car. Don't approach them. For goodness sake, do not try to feed them. And if you're on the road, slow down so there isn't a tragedy, especially with those little ones who seem pretty spacey. We're not 100% sure what species these are, but we're pretty sure they are black bears. Grizzly bears have a characteristic hump that mama bear here does not have. Did you know that black bears are not always black? Their fur can range in color from black to brown to even blonde. When a black bear has brownish fur like this, it's called a cinnamon. Go on, guys, catch up. They're distracted. Go on. in trouble. Look, there he goes. So cute. Any visit to Maligne Lake region is incomplete without a hike to see the Maligne Canyon. Yet another example of the awesome power of these glacial rivers and all the snowmelt streams that flow into them. These waters will also join the Athabasca River, becoming part of the immensely important Athabasca watershed, stretching from here to the Arctic Ocean. And so the moment has finally come to bid farewell to Jasper National Park. We have to keep moving not only because we're on that crunch to start the Alaska Highway, but also because something is happening here in Jasper that could potentially shut down the roads.
There's a wildfire going on here in Jasper National Park right now, and I believe we are going to be going right through it.
For the past week, this fire has been raging in the northern part of the park, and at this stage, it is classified as out of control. The park has been warning that they might need to close down the very same road that we need to get out of the park, so we gotta move. This is the same fire that made the skies go so hazy throughout our time in Banff National Park. Luckily, we made it out just fine. We are in Hinton, Alberta, and we're gonna go out and play some disc golf with our new friends Courtney and Devin. Everywhere in the world, people are just wonderful. Hinton is a small town just right at the edge of the Rockies. As we drove into town last night, Courtney saw the bus and sent us a message on Instagram welcoming us to town and saying it'd be great to meet up. And now here we are playing disc golf with new friends. It doesn't take much to connect and brighten someone's day.
Oh.
Yeah.
I need to be stronger about this.
I need to give it more. Be aggressive. Yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
Penny, come say hi. Hi. Oh, goodness. Hi, Stump. Hey. He's like, I want to say hi too.
Yeah, perfect.
So without the gills, what's that called?
So anything typically without gills, those are called bullets. And then you can also find everything from murals. In Valemount, you can get chanterelles.
There we go. Nice shot. Nice shot.
Mind is blown.
This is the last basket, yeah?
Last basket.
Ta-da! Oh, there we go.
All right, so this is where we're gonna be parked for the night. Not the best place we ever parked, but it's nice and away from the road. We have a fire pit, beautiful forest all around. Now it's time for me to get ready to go fishing. But before, I gotta help Cora put the bed up.
I'm in my classic form. These are the Lewicki tufts. See,
Beautiful.
They defy gravity.
Beautiful.
If I learn to flap them, I could just fly away.
While I'm working on my songs in the studio, Jose is out doing something equally enjoyable.
Nice.
Wow.
You got away.
You broke my line.
Oh no.
Oh, you little bugger. I got a hook in my hair.
Well, I caught dinner, but dinner got away. Luckily, there was a nice guy over here, Greg, and his daughter, Jessica. And they saw me catching the fish before they caught anything, and they were like, yay! And then got away. So they were so sad that he got away from me, especially because I told them it was my first time fishing for trout. So Greg caught one, and he gave it to me.
Aww.
And here it is. It's dinner.
Oh, yeah. That's gonna be a good dinner.
Yeah. Not a bad day. Not too bad for the first time. The fish is clean and ready to be cooked.
Oh, that is a rainbow trout.
It's a rainbow trout.
Yeah, you see that. Well, today marks the day that we are leaving this area of the Canadian Rockies that we have loved so much. We have to kind of tear ourselves away because we need to get north to get to Alaska and get over those passes before the first snow. So today we are driving to Dawson Creek, which is going to be kind of mile marker 0 of the Alaska-Canada Highway, also known as the Alcan.
All aboard! Next stop, Dawson Creek.
Woohoo! It's hard to express how big of a deal this is for us. If you've been with us on this journey for a while, you know how long we have been trying to get to Alaska. Our first attempt was summer 2019, but we missed that window because the bus conversion wasn't finished in time. Well, that's okay, we said. We'll just go in summer 2020. Huh. The pandemic has kept Alaska out of reach until now. Did you know there is only one road to Alaska? It starts in Dawson Creek, British Columbia, and it is one of the most epic highways in the world. We have been preparing for this moment for almost 3 years, and man, are we ready. Are you ready to travel it with us? Come with us as we finally journey the Alaska Highway next time on Art We There Yet? Hey guys, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give us a like.
Subscribe to our channel.
Send us a comment below. And for exclusive content and a behind the scenes view of the Art We There Yet journey,
Join us on Patreon.
see you over on Patreon.